The grocery bag slipped before I even realized I'd let it go. Eggs burst against the tile. Apples rolled into the hallway, one thudding softly against the baseboard. I stood frozen, shoes rooted to the floor, because what I saw in my living room didn't make sense. Jude was there, my son measuring tape in hand, stretching it across the wall. Kelsey stood beside him, gesturing like she was discussing renovations. Her mother lounged in my chair, the one I read in, sipping from a travel mug, as though she'd lived here all her life. A woman I didn't recognize, clipboard raised, pointed toward the ceiling. I knew that kind. Realtor. None of them looked startled to see me. Not even Jude. "Mom," he said, calm, casual. "You weren't supposed to be here yet." I blinked. "This is my house." "Exactly," Kelsey chimed in with a smile stretched too wide. "And it's perfect for what we've been thinking." I felt my throat tighten. "What you've been thinking?" Jude shrugged, like it was obvious. "The layout works for the kids. Office can be converted closer to daycare. No more rent. You're not even using all the space." My key still dangled from the lock behind me. The eggs bled across the tile. No one moved to clean them. No one even offered. I stepped inside, past the broken shells, past the realtor, past the woman I hadn't invited, and I smiled just enough to show my teeth. "Well," I said softly, "since you've had your look." I didn't finish. Didn't need to. I held the door open. One by one, they filed out. Kelsey's mother gave me a look of pity. The realtor mumbled about market potential. Jude kissed my cheek like nothing had happened. When the door shut behind them, I called the locksmith. 3 days earlier, Jude had arrived with 2 coffees. He smiled, almost like the boy I remembered raising. "Thought I'd come see the new place." We sat on the porch, watching the tide drag in under a sky undecided between rain and sun. He asked about paint colors, flooring, furniture. For a moment, I felt almost proud, calm, normal. Then the doorbell. Kelsey, just stopping by. Her mother trailing behind her. They stayed 20 minutes, compliments, small talk, Jude raiding my pantry for snacks. At one point, I stepped into the back bedroom for a phone call. I set my purse by the door, zipper open. A harmless detail, one I barely noticed then. Now it gleams in memory like a knife blade. Back in the present, the air smelled faintly of someone else's perfume. On the arm of my chair, a silk scarf. Floral, unfamiliar, lavender clinging to the fabric. Not forgotten, left. Claim. I checked the drawer where I keep spares. 1 key gone, not misplaced, stolen. Tape residue marked. The hardwood threshold of my office, measurements, planning, they hadn't just visited. They had been mapping my life. I thought of all the years I'd bent until I was paper thin when cancer took John. I worked double shifts to keep us afloat. When Jude needed loans, I co-signed, paid, sacrificed. When he married Kelsey, I emptied half my savings. When the twins came early, I lived in their guest room for months, feeding babies at night, working 10-hour days remotely. Laundry folded between Zoom calls. When bills piled up, I wired them $20,000 without hesitation. They praised me. Generous saint. No, just useful. And now I stood in my own kitchen, staring at tape lines on the floor I didn't put there. Feeling something inside me snap. Not a break, a clean slice. I threw the scarf in the trash. Neighbors confirmed what I already suspected. Jude had come by before closing, asking if the place could be sold to family. My realtor admitted he'd asked about transfer options. They'd been circling for weeks, not dreaming, not hoping, planning. They don't think it's mine, I wrote in my notebook, and maybe it was time to show them it was not at Jude's kitchen island where I'd once spooned applesauce into his children's mouths. I asked you contacted Elise about title transfer. Before I moved in, he leaned back, shrugged. Just a thought. That house is too big for you. You hate being alone. This would solve everything. I laughed softly, hollow. You think I bought that house to solve your life? His smile faltered. I bought it to breathe. He didn't follow me to the door. The next day, Kelsey tagged me in a post, kids finally getting a bigger place. So grateful to Mom. Photos of my rooms, my windows, their boxes stacked like promises. Comments rolled in. Which room is yours? One with the big window, she replied. Perfect for my mom. The boys will share across the hall. Not fantasy, not suggestion, declaration. I documented everything. Screenshots, comments, timestamps. My bank flagged a login attempt the same week Jude offered to help set up bill pay. The cameras I'd installed caught Kelsey's mother testing keys. At my door, calling a locksmith. When he refused, she lingered. Jude's car crawled past hours later, then sped off without stopping. I saved every file, every request. The folder grew thick. This wasn't about misunderstanding anymore. It was about entitlement, about theft. When Jude invited me to dinner, I came prepared. The table was set with cloth napkins, wine glasses. The twins were conveniently gone. A manila folder sat by my plate. Listings of bigger homes. Notes in red in Great Yard. For grandkids, mother-in-law, sweet potential. These are beautiful, I said carefully. For who? For us, Jude said. It's a win-win. You sell the cottage, move into something that fits the family. We all contribute. Spoke to my bank. He smiled. Just to understand the process, he wanted to be prepared. I stood slowly, making sure my chair didn't scrape. You went behind my back? Kelsey jumped in. It's not like that. You've been overwhelmed? You thought taking the logistics off your plate would help. I didn't ask you to take anything. Not stress, not space, not the deed to my house. Silence. Their smiles faltered. I picked up my coat. The next day, I handed Jude an envelope. He looked at it like it burned. What the hell is this? Cease and desist. From my attorney. I turned and walked away. They didn't stop. My bank called again. Jude trying to access my loan file, claiming I'd authorized him. That night, I listed the cottage for sale, not because they'd won, 'cause I finally understood peace isn't a place. It's control over who walks through your door. And my home had become a battlefield. Now, in Colorado. The air feels different, quieter. Maybe that's me. My walls hold only my photos, hikes, work, celebrations. Friends, laughter, not theirs. Mine. My key hangs alone on the hook. No spares, no backups, no just in case. Some nights I wonder what they call me. Selfish, cold, villain, maybe? But last week, a coworker said he admired how I held boundaries. Without apology, I smiled at that. I didn't always know how. Now I do, and every night when I hang my single key back on its hook, I know exactly who belongs inside.